welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher. So let's jump right into it. We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. What is going on YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and I want to thank you guys for joining me for another video here on the channel. Today we're going to be going through some notable eBay sales that took place this week. Again, I did this last week and there was a lot of great responses, a lot of great communication with everyone out there in the community, so I figured why not do it again. But before we get started, like always, I'm going to ask you, if you're not a current subscriber of the channel, do me a favor, click that subscribe button for me, tap that like button. Let's get this video out to 200 likes because you guys know I'm giving away this awesome Thanos diorama once we get to 4,000 subs, so do me a favor, click that sub button. With that said, let's get into the video. The first book that caught my eye was this Avengers No. 1 that sold on February 13th. It's a CGC 3.5. For anybody out there who doesn't know, this is the first appearance of the Avengers. This book was listed for $4,250, but the best offer was accepted for $3,750. And as you guys can see, it's already up on GPA for that price. Now, the 90-day average for this book was $3,477, so just up over 300 bucks over that average, which I think is a really good sign. The 12-month rolling average was $4,006. All the way back in 2022 was $4,161, and the 2021 at the height of mass hysteria, like I said, was $4,188. Now, I am currently watching this book because, as you guys know, I traded a bunch of books for my Batman No. 1. This was one of them. Now, I may be trying to add this one back if I can. It's a nice, steady book when we're talking about price. It really hasn't had a massive jump over the years, maybe down a little bit over the past couple. But hey, I always say when it comes to this book, I think a lot of people out there will try to go to this book and find this one if they can't go out and get the true first appearances of the original characters. So keep that in mind. A good one to be watching. The next book we're going to look at is this Amazing Spider-Man number 129 in a CGC 6.0, of course, the first appearance of Frank Castle as the Punisher. Now, this one sold on February 14th. It was an auction. It ended at $14.01 even on 9 bids. As we get into GPA analysis, you can see that last sale has been posted, but the 90-day average right in line at $14.12 on 9 sales. The 12-month rolling average was $1,714 on a whopping 40 sales. So that's a whole year's worth of 40 sales at this grade, a 6.0. The 2022 average was $1,815, and going all the way back to 2021, $1,804. So what this tells me is this book is still dropping. Right? It's right in line with the 90-day, or about $1,400. But the all-time high for a 6.0 was $1,800. So let's see over the next couple of months if this book kind of stays flat, stays steady, or if it keeps dropping. Again, you guys know at one point I owned up to 6 copies of this book. I'm a big believer in this Bronze Age key. But again, the higher the grade, the better. This one is a nice, fine 6.0. I think it's a decent bet. Regardless, let's see where this book goes over the next couple of months. The next book that really caught my attention, and to be honest, my jaw just dropped when I saw this, is a copy of Ultimate Fallout 4, the first appearance of Miles Morales at a CGC 9.8 that sold on February 13th for only $886. Now, I don't know if this book was listed improperly. $800 is so off the high, it's absolutely insane. As you can see, I'm going to show you another one here. There was another one that sold the very next day on an auction for $1,800. Same grade, same white pages. This one's actually shipped from Spain, believe it or not. But $800 for this book, I almost had a heart attack. As we get into this GPA data, you could see the last sale was this $1,800 sale, but the 90-day average of this book was right around that at $1,835. So for a book to sell for $886, we're talking maybe about, what, 65% off the high. I don't know what happened with this book, if it was just listed improperly, but either way, this is an amazing sale. Someone got an absolute steal. The 12-month rolling average for this book was $2,471. The 2022 average was $2,627, and way back in 2021, $2,540. The biggest thing I noticed is look at the number of sales that happened in 2022 and over the past year. 261, 271, and 323 sales. To me, this book is selling at a rapid pace, and someone got a massive deal at $886. I cannot believe it. Regardless, I'm still waiting to see what this book does. I told you guys a long time ago, I'm in this book for the long term. If you guys own a 9.8 copy, and that's really what I want, unless you're a crazy Miles fan, that's the copy that I want to own. Regardless, you got to keep watching this one over the next 6 months to a year and see what happens. The next book we're going to take a look at is this Amazing Spider-Man number 14 and the first appearance of the Green Goblin. This one was listed at a CGC 4.5 and it sold on February 14th last week. It was listed for $22.50 but actually ended up selling for $1,850. $400 off the asking price. But keep in mind, depending on where you live in the country, you're paying tax most of the time, so it's probably comparable to around $2,000. Regardless, guys, the 90-day average for this book was $2,142 on just 4 sales at this grade. 12-month rolling average was $26.35, so that is a whopping decrease. The 2022 average was $27.94, and the 2021 average was $2,591. As this book continues to drop, we can't forget this is one of the all-time most important Spider-Man villains out there. And again, at a nice mid to high grade 4.5, I think it's a steal, anything under $2,000. I own a 3.0 copy, and I think I bought it well before 2021. I think I probably paid around $1,500 for it. So for this book at a 4.5 to drop under $2,000, it is a major deal. Another book I'd be looking to add right now if you're a big Spidey fan and you're trying to collect some of the villain first appearance keys. We're going to stick with Spidey and talk about this one, Amazing Spider-Man number 2, at a CGC 1.8 first appearance of the Vulture. Many of you guys forget this is actually the 3rd appearance of Spider-Man as well. This book sold on February 13th earlier this week. They had it listed for $1,250, but the best offer was accepted for $1,150. Again, if we look at the 90-day average, right at that as well, $1,150. So someone probably said to themselves, you know what, I'm willing to pay the 90-day average or the last sale. I'll give you $1,150, and they happily accepted. But don't forget, the tax man is there, so it definitely sold over $1,150. The 12-month rolling average was $1,283 on just 3 sales. 2022 average was $1,325, and 2021 $1,449. Again, like I said it before, the 3rd appearance of Spider-Man, I know it's really low grade at 1.8. This one actually looks like it presents pretty well. Someone called it in the A on the amazing part of the Spider-Man. But regardless, when you could find this book for under $1,000 or around $1,000, it's always a great buy if it presents well. I was lucky enough way back when to pick up a raw copy for about $600. Actually flipped that over. I actually own a 1.8 copy of this book, and I actually have a raw copy as well that actually is probably a better grade, probably a 2.530 that I actually picked up, I think, for around $1,100. Regardless, if you're an early Silver Age Spider-Man villain fan, again, if you can't go out and get ASM 1 or an AF-15, this is your next best bet, and I think for the price it's at, it's an absolute steal. The last book we're going to talk about is this copy of Daredevil number 1 at a CGC 3.0. Of course, the origin and first appearance of Daredevil. This book sold on February 16th last week, was listed for $3,300. Best offer accepted for a whopping $2,700, $600 off the ass. Now, the first thing that went through my mind was, hey, this person really wanted to get rid of this book. But as I got into the GPA data, the 90-day average for this book was only $2,990. So this person had this book listed well over GPA data. But I get it. eBay fees, 13% they want now. I would probably list it for around the same price. The 12-month rolling average was $3,482. The 2022 average was $3,726, so down $1,000 since 2022 average. The 2021 average was $3,786. If you guys haven't watched my comic book hierarchy video, this book was featured in part 2. I do think it's an investment book, but it's on the lower end of Marvel's Silver Age keys, so keep that in mind. I had somebody reach out to me recently and asked, hey, they had their LCS, had a CGC 1.8 copy. They were asking $2,400, which I thought was absolutely crazy. The last sale on a 1.8 was $1,725. So again, if you want to own this book, I think it might be a great time to buy it, but let's watch it over the next couple of months. If you're willing to hold on for the long term, definitely a book I'd be interested in. But as I said before, as these books come down in price, you have to be willing to hold. If you need that money within the next year to 5 years, you probably shouldn't be buying much right now, so keep that in mind. That's it for this week's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Drop me comments down below. What do you think of these sales of these books? Should we be buying some of these books? Are we still staying away? Also, I want you to give me a list of books that you want me to look up for future eBay video sales. Are there certain books that you're looking at that you want to know, hey, is this a good buy or not? Drop me comments down below. Let me know what those issues are. If they sold the prior week, I will get into them. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.